Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here at your Board of County Commissioners meeting. You can feel the excitement in the air, can you not? And we thank you for such a great crowd. First on our agenda is going to be the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand.
Dear Father, as we deal with the everyday challenges, help us to be mindful of all that we have to be thankful for. In your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on our agenda is the minutes and proclamations approval. Is there a
Motion to approve.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move on to Madam Secretary, if you could read Resolution 2013-238, World AIDS Day.
Yes, ma'am. A resolution proclaiming December 1st, 2013 as World AIDS Day in St. Lucie County, Florida. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of St. Lucie County, Florida has made the following determinations. The global spread of HIV infection and AIDS necessitates a worldwide effort to increase communication, education, and action to stop the spread of HIV/AIDS. The Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS, observes December 1st of each year as the World AIDS Day, a day to strengthen the worldwide effort to stop the spread of HIV/AIDS. As of June 2013 of this year, St. Lucie County had 1,082 living cases of AIDS reported, representing 70% of all AIDS cases in Area 15. Florida is third in the nation for HIV/AIDS infection. World AIDS Day provides an opportunity to increase awareness of the importance of HIV and AIDS prevention, fight stigma, fear, and ignorance which cripples our HIV prevention, care and treatment efforts, and promote, support, and care for people with HIV infections and AIDS. The 2013 UNAIDS World AIDS Day theme is Getting to Zero HIV New Cases, Zero Discrimination, and Zero AIDS-Related Deaths. In 2006, the Florida Department of Health of St. Lucie County was ranked 4th in the state of Florida for HIV/AIDS infections. For the first time in 8 years, our rates have dropped below the state of Florida rate for new HIV cases by 54%. We must maintain these gains to continue our efforts. We must fight stigma and discrimination in our community that stops our community members from accessing HIV prevention, care, and treatment services, and push towards greater access to treatment for all and get to zero AIDS-related deaths. Now, therefore, be it resolved that St. Lucie County does hereby proclaim December 1st, 2013 as World AIDS Day and urges all St. Lucie County citizens to take part in activities and observances to increase awareness and understanding of HIV/AIDS as a global challenge, recognizing the important leadership role that can be played by people living with HIV/AIDS, and joining the global effort to stop the spread of HIV/AIDS in St. Lucie County. Passed and duly adopted this 3rd day of December 2013.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this time, I'd like to ask Danielle Barron to accept the resolution.
Good evening. As a representative of the Florida Department of Health in St. Lucie County and the chair of the St. Lucie County HIV Prevention Planning Group right next to me, we thank you for this important proclamation for World AIDS Day 2013. Although we made great progress in reducing our rates of new HIV cases, as we just heard, we must remain vigilant and continue our efforts. Because of medical advances, people living with HIV/AIDS live much longer, but this doesn't mean that the threat is gone. We no longer hear or put emphasis on prevention messages. and have young people thinking that popping a pill is more important than prevention. Yet 1 in 5 Americans and 1 in 4 youth are infected with HIV and don't know it. We must continue to act on all fronts. As part of a World AIDS Week in St. Lucie County, yesterday, we reached close to 200 homes and individuals with close to 70 volunteers in 4 locations in St. Lucie County: Sportsman Park, the Civic Center, ONA Market in Fort Pierce, and Lakewood Park. And tomorrow we are offering counseling and testing services in these same locations. On Friday, we're inviting everyone to hear the latest developments in HIV at the Florida Department of Health in St. Lucie County's 7th Annual Symposium. Finally, we are also offering testing during the Festival of Lights at the Civic Center on December 7th, and we have a young honor roll student doing an event at Lawnwood Stadium. What else can we do? We can be more visible not just during World AIDS Week, but all throughout the year, and address stigma in the media, fight the fear and misconceptions that keep community members from accessing HIV prevention, care, and treatment services. Extend our HIV counseling and testing services to all of St. Lucie County. And last but not least, develop programs to reach out to those that are disproportionately impacted by HIV, including young teens and young adults, the aging, and also minority populations. We ask you to facilitate and support these important initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I could add in, Danielle, and just again, this is a 100% preventable disease, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And this is a great audience to reach tonight, because they are engaging in their futures as young adults, and knowing your HIV status or not is so important for the future, for your life, and then anybody you may come in contact with. So there are a number of nonprofit agencies within the county in which anyone could contact, including the health department, and you have access to all those different agencies, including the Image of Christ.
Project Response.
Project Response, and there are many, many others.
Several churches,
Exactly.
St. Mark's Baptist Church, many churches or faith-based partners are involved in HIV/AIDS education. And so if you're part of your church, go and ask the pastor.
Or we could call the health department, or your
You can
agency.
call the health
and
department.
Is there a number?
You can call me at 462-3805, or you could call the HIV department at 462-3819. We offer free testing. It's confidential and it's quick. It's not a long process, and it doesn't hurt. It is a responsibility for all of us in our county, even though we've lowered our rates, and especially among you teens and parents, that it is everybody's responsibility to get tested and make sure that we, prevent this disease. Johns Hopkins, where I used to work, says that HIV prevention is the vaccine. There is no vaccine for HIV. So the best method is prevention, and prevention means testing, and it means protecting yourself, and it means education.
And
Educating yourself.
And a new population that is actually increasing is that of those over 60. And
Yes,
so,
well, actually 40s and over.
Okay. And that's largely because people think that they're leaving their parenthood days, basically, and not taking the precautions that they might normally take.
That's
so,
right.
let's get the word out. You're doing a great job. Thank you so very much. This has been an issue for me for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I want to recognize Betty Bradwell. She's been working with the health department for years in HIV prevention in this area. And she was out all night until, 9 o'clock working on our walks in Fort Pierce. So she deserves a big show of hands.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Moving on to our next presentation, the fair housing presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Diana Wesfosky, Housing Manager for St. Lucie County. The county is applying for a $750,000 grant from the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for the Community Development Block Grant Small Cities Program, which we call CDBG. We love acronyms. As part of the application, the county is required to conduct a fair housing workshop. I'd like to introduce to you Jay Mosley with Government Services Group. He will be doing the presentation, and I promise Sue it will be short. Okay, so
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I think we're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Good to be here. Fair housing is an ordinance that was adopted by St. Lucie County. It's also an ongoing opportunity for the county to get the word out to residents and commissioners, elected officials, that fair housing is not just words, it is the law. And fair housing was established to protect people from discrimination when renting or buying property. Discrimination based on the following factors is prohibited, and that's race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and familial status. Familial status includes someone with one or more children under the age of 18, pregnant women, someone who has custody or guardianship of a child, foster parents. Discrimination based on sex is prohibited. Dissemination or discrimination based on disability, and disability means substantially limits one or more major life functions. Home buyers and renters have the right to expect housing in their price range to be made available to them without discrimination. There are other areas of discrimination. I'm not going to read every one of them on the slide, but these we do have these available in the housing department should someone need to go over this. Landlords can set standards, however, they must apply them equally to everyone. And the exemption for older persons, and that's people 55 to 62, and that's in housing related especially for older people. There are other areas that must be allowed for and accessible for disabled people, and there can be no discrimination in mortgage lending based on race, color, national origin, religion, or the other protected classes. And we can't refuse to provide homeowners insurance coverage. Insurance coverage is protected. And we can't do redlining, and we can't do other insurance redlining. You can't refuse to rent or sell housing, must negotiate for housing, make housing unavailable. You can't deny a dwelling and other activities. Refuse to let you make reasonable modifications if you are disabled is not allowed. We have phone numbers if you feel like you have been discriminated against, and these are the people that you would call if there is discrimination, and areas in how to file a complaint. And this concludes our presentation, and we thank you so much.
Thank you.
Were there any questions?
Are there any questions from the board?
No. Okay, thank you.
Very well done.
You're welcome.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to move into what I've always called my most favorite time of year. And this is when we have members of our community, most specifically our 4-H groups, come forward and tell the board and the public what they've done for the entire past year. And I hope people will listen, they will take the time and realize how very, very special St. Lucie County is to have the youth in our community do the work that they do. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Sue Munyon.
She has them whipped into shape, doesn't she?
Good evening, County Commissioners, fellow 4-Hers, and family and friends. My name is Haley Malpass, and I'm the president of Jitters and Critters 4-H group. We're a fairly new group this year. It's only our second year, so we're still kind of getting the hang of things. But this is my 6th and final year 4-H. If you would have asked me 6 years ago to stand up here and speak in front of you, I would have looked at you like you were crazy. You see, 4-H doesn't just teach us about the care of animals. It teaches us leadership, responsibility, and character. Standing in front of you today, I'm a role model for many little kids, showing them the ropes at fair, helping with homework, and even just being a friend. You see, it's like the saying, monkey see, monkey do. So I'm hoping by leading the way I am, they'll lead by example. Our group has big plans ahead of us. We plan to help and bag clams with the St. Lucie County Inshore Reef Restoration Group. We also have a beach in mind that needs a little bit of TLC, so we plan to spend the day cleaning it up, making it look nice. Our club is little but growing. So we have to give you guys like the biggest thank you. Each and every one of you. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. You guys give us the opportunity that some kids don't get. We learn what teamwork is. We learn how to help others and give back to the community. The smiles, the laughters, and the memories are all owed to you guys. Without you guys, we wouldn't have the chance to change the lives that we do. In honor of you guys, Jitters and Critters 4-H group donated the weight of 400 pounds of food to Grace Pack program at Alapata Flats K-8 to help feed the students who normally go home over the weekends and don't get fed. It's been a pleasure getting to know everybody the past 6 years. It's been great coming back every year to see the people who make it possible. On behalf of Jitters and Critters, we'd like to thank the county commissioners, Ms. Sue Munyon, and everyone else for everything you guys do. Your hard work is definitely paying off because you can see it in the crowd that's sitting in front of you. I hope each and every person in this room has a very Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, you name it. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Haley.
Good evening. I am Christy Long, president of Turn and Burn 4-H Club. This year is Turn and Burn's 5th year standing before you to thank the county commissioners for their continued support and encouragement of St. Lucie County 4-H. It is a very special year for Turn and Burn as the 4-H Club. Saddle Up Kids merged with Turn and Burn this year. Saddle Up Kids was a 4-H club for special needs children. All the members of Turn and Burn are so happy to have Saddle Up Kids join us.
I am Megan Keevers, Vice President of Turn and Burn. As with special needs children, all children need love, support, and encouragement. 4-H gives children an environment of support, encouragement, and love. Each and every member of Turn and Burn appreciates so much the support and encouragement the County Commissioners give to all St. Lucie County 4-H clubs. Without your constant support and encouragement, the children in St. Lucie County would not have the opportunity to learn about our community, develop lifelong friendships, and participate in all the different learning and fun activities. Turn and Burn is looking forward to our beach cleanup later this month. We also have learned about horse health. In January, we have a field trip planned to learn about the Pasofino horses, as well as how horses can be therapeutic for special needs children. Our participation in the food drive and gathering supplies for Grace Packs made us more aware of others in our community who are not as fortunate as we are. Our club will be working on ways we can continue to assist those in need.
We hope you enjoy your handmade Western-style wooden coat racks, and that when you look at the handmade Christmas tree ornaments that you will keep close to your heart, that the ornament was made with great care and appreciation by a Turn and Burn 4-H'er. Thank you, and all of Turn and Burn wishes each and every commissioner and their families a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alyssa Keegan, and I'm the president.
I'm Alex Dracula, Vice President of Midnight Riders 4-H Club.
We are so thankful for
I'm going
all
to stop you right there for one moment. Could you ask your club if they're here to stand up so they can be recognized?
Midnight Riders.
Thank you.
We are so thankful for all the hard work you put into not just our club, but all of 4-H.
To us, 4-H is so important because it teaches about responsibility, education, and how to be a successful person in today's society.
Without your gracious help, 4-H wouldn't be as successful as it is today. Midnight Riders would like to show our gratitude by donating money to the Dale's Barbecue in their tough times.
We also have participated in a book drive and food drive.
With love from myself and the members of Midnight Riders, we'd like to wish you and your families a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner,
Yes.
if I may, before the next person speaks, could we get Jitters and Critters to stand?
I thought they had... Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Also, Turn and Burn. Turn and
They
Burn
were
to
standing
stand.
early, that's why I noticed that.
Good job.
You want Michael to stand up too?
Yes.
Yes, they're already standing. Good for them.
Good evening, County Commissioners. I am Isabella Dessa, the president of the Research Coast Florida Junior Academy of Sciences 4-H Club. Our club focuses on individual students completing and excelling in their science projects. We promote kindness and respectful behavior towards one another. Our members learn real-life applications and life skills. Our club is a safe place to make friends, learn new things, and even make mistakes. Our students have competed in regional, state, and even international level science fair competitions. Thanks to your support, our members can further explore their different interests in the sciences. That would not be possible without this club. The RCFJAS wishes you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas also.
Good evening, County Commissioners and fellow 4-H clubs. My name is Tori Lamport, and I am president of Spurs and Stuff 4-H. I have been in 4-H for 6 years, and sadly, this is my last year.
Hello, my name is Addison McKnight. I have been in 4-H for 6 years, and I'm currently the vice president. Our club is a horse and small animal club. We have been very active in our community this year. As our community service, we feed the homeless at Sarah's Kitchen. Also, we have collected canned goods for the 4-H food drive. We will be participating in the Sights and Sounds Christmas Parade on December 8th. We thank you for your continuous support, and we hope you enjoy your horseshoe coasters and chocolate caramel apples.
We would also like to thank Sue Munyon and our 4-H leader, Karen Mayo Malcolm. Happy holidays to you, your family, and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, before you get started, did your group stand up? I didn't see them.
Yeah, they
Did,
did.
okay. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mackenzie Barnes, and I am the Secretary and Treasurer of Equinox 4-H Club.
And I am Austin Nirenberg, the Parliamentarian of Equinox 4-H Club.
Throughout this 4-H year, we have donated $52 to Dogs and Cats Forever, and we are sending Christmas cards to our troops. During our annual holiday auction fundraiser this year, we will be hosting a supply drive for Creature Safe Place. We will also be making Valentine's Day cards for Meals on Wheels. In addition, we have donated $50 to Creature Safe Place in your name. On behalf of our club and all the other 4-H clubs in this county, thank you for everything you do for 4-H. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Good evening. My name is Emily Combs, and I'm the president of Paws and Claws 4-H Group.
And my name is Corbin Martin. I'm the vice president of Paws and Claws 4-H Group. And we would like to thank you for keeping 4-H in your budget and supporting us.
At Paws and Claws 4-H Group, we raise small animals such as rabbits, chickens, and guinea pigs. Because of your support, we are able to show them in the small animal barn at the fair. So far this year, we have done a Thanksgiving food drive and plan to help the Salvation Army with bringing bells outside of Publix for community service. We have had two guest speakers this year. One talked about hydroponics and aquaponics, and the other talked about the water treatment plant and how it works. We are also doing a garden project next year. Next, we plan to take an educational field trip.
We're proud to present you our gift of snowman candy jars and a cash donation of $150 to the young girl Lily who has leukemia on your behalf. Thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Bart Jazeski, and I am the president of 4-H Clover Club. One of our projects is Pioneer Day. This event is a celebration of the history of St. Lucie County. Visitors can come to watch and participate in many of our activities of everyday pioneer life. Pioneer Day was started in 2009 by 4-H Clover Club and is held each year at the Savannah's Preserve State Park. And this year, several 4-H members volunteered approximately 100 community service hours to this project, and it was enjoyed by hundreds of guests.
Good job.
Hello, my name is Riley Hamilton, and I am vice president. This year, our club participated in citizen science projects each month. These include tree banding, ant collecting, water testing, and several others.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I love it.
Good evening. I am Nisha Padarcharnjit, president of Goofy Grapefruit 4-H Club. The Goofy Grapefruit 4-H Club was organized in September, and we have 11 members ranging in age from 5 to 11. We have a general interest 4-H club with projects including horticulture, photography, entomology, art, small animals, and cooking. On behalf of the Goofy Grapefruit, many thanks for your continuing support of the St. Lucie County 4-H program.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lewis Clinton, and I am the president of Southern Swans 4-H Club. We've been enacting members of the club for the last 9 years.
Hi, my name is Gregory Bourbonnier, and I've been the reporter for Southern Swans 4-H Club this year. This is also my 9th year in the club.
As a club, we do a lot of outstanding things for our community.
For example, some of the things that we do are beach cleanups, food drives, Remembrance 9/11 baskets, and collect food for animal shelters. Also, we try to use local businesses for our fundraisers, and we support all our local businesses at any chances that we have. 4-H teaches us responsibility and work ethic.
Thank you, and have a happy holiday.
Great job.
Thank you.
My name is Wyatt. My name is Wyatt Brown. I'm the vice president of Hawk Ridge 4-H Club.
Hello. Hello, my name is Colton Macon, and I'm a junior at Lincoln Park Academy and president of Hog Huggers 4-H Club. This year we have been busy with meetings, fundraisers, and community service. Just a couple months ago, we had our 3rd annual Grand Slam fishing tournament, which turned out great. And we just donated to the Hibiscus Children's House so that they will have a very Merry Christmas. I'd like to say thank you for all that you do for our community and for all us fellow 4-Hers. Have a Happy New Year and Happy Holidays.
Great job. Thank you.
Merry Christmas and thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily. I'm president of Rooters 4-H Swine Club. And I'm Bailey, vice president. Our club has donated food to the St. Lucie County Food Bank for Thanksgiving, and we are donating pet supplies for a local no-kill shelter.
We would like to thank you for all your support towards the 4-H program, so we made you some trail mix in appreciation. Happy holidays.
Good job. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ruth Cleveland, and I am representing District 11. Our district participated in the 4-H food drive. We collected 960 pounds of food. 10 of us attended 4-H Congress this year, and 8 of us competed, taking home several different awards. Once a month, our group has been attending hikes held throughout the district. Last but certainly not least, we have helped out with Pioneer Festival, which is held at the Savannah Preserve State Park. District 11 thanks you very much for everything you guys are doing, and have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you. And did your group stand up?
Good evening, County Commissioners. My name is Marissa Hall, and I'm president of the Star Bright Dog Obedience Club. This is my 11th year in 4-H, and I personally wanted to thank you for your continued support of this program. Our club is composed of members ranging from 5 to 17, and we participate in the Thanksgiving food drive and provide donations to our local Humane Society. Some of our members compete at the national AKC level of dog showing, and some at the national level. Please enjoy the puppy chow mix that we made for you. Just remember that it's for your dog because it's made of chocolate. Thank you for your support, and have a very Merry Christmas.
Thank
you.
you.
Weren't supposed to tell them.
Good job.
Good evening. My name is Chelsea Prestridge, and I am the president of the Rocking Horse 4-H Club. We've had a wonderful year so far, and we've all been busy with events and community service projects, like organizing our local food bank, and we've been getting together to prepare for our upcoming Christmas parade.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Vasquez, and I am the vice president of the Rocking Horse 4-H Club. This year we've decided to give a gift that keeps on giving. In your name, we donated a portion of our club savings to the local creature safe place. We as a club would like to thank you for everything you do for 4-H overall, and we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Nicholas Pasuti.
And I'm Caitlin Willis from Showstoppers 4-H Club.
I'm the president, and we appreciate all that you've done for us throughout the years, and we appreciate your support, and have a good night.
Thank you.
And a few words.
Good evening, County Commissioners and my fellow 4-Hers. My name is Taylor Roop, and I'm the president of the Happy Hams 4-H Club.
My name is Robbie Yancey, and I'm vice president of Happy Hams 4-H Club.
I would like to tell you a few things this year Happy Hams has done. We had a canned food drive to help families in need. We helped prepare Thanksgiving dinner at Mustard Seed. Also, the Happy Hams will be adopting a child, two
2 children for Christmas. We would like to thank you all for your support in 4-H and give you these gifts to show you our appreciation. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dakota Knoll, and I am president of the Porkers 4-H Club. I am a senior at John Carroll High School and have been in 4-H for 9 years. We have made a lot of money doing fundraisers to help pay for our show expenses, and most importantly, for our community services. This year, we will be joining with the Florida East Coast Railway on December 14th at 1 p.m. at the Orange Avenue crossings to donate Toys for Tots program and a quick visit with Santa and Mrs. Claus. We also participated in the annual Thanksgiving food drive for the families who didn't have a meal for Thanksgiving. In the years I've been in 4-H, I have made lifelong friendships. It has also taught me how to be responsible and how to work hard to achieve great things. Please enjoy these festive mason jars layered with peppermint and hot cocoa mix. Over the years, you men and women have really helped out with 4-H in Santa Lucie County. And on behalf of the Porkers 4-H Club, we also thank you guys for your hard work and Miss Sue. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, my name is Sue Munyon. I'm the St. Lucie County 4-H Extension Agent. They're a hard act to follow, aren't they? I would not be able to talk about 4-H without first recognizing the adult volunteers that make 4-H in St. Lucie County possible. They contribute over 15,000 hours, which approximately values at over $300,000. So I'd like to have my 4-H volunteer leaders stand up and just be recognized. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about what the majority of 4-Hers are doing in St. Lucie County. But I'm going to share with you a few things that the majority of 4-Hers are not doing. According to a study by Cornell University Cooperative Extension, 4-Hers are less likely than other kids to be in the juvenile justice system, costing taxpayers money. They are less likely to drop out of high school, use illegal drugs, smoke cigarettes, be in gang-related activities. 4-Hers are busy. They're contributing and improving their quality of life with their family, their neighborhoods, and their communities. 4-H doesn't just attract high-achieving kids from privileged families, nor is 4-H able to achieve the kind of results you heard here tonight by only working with the best kids. 4-H is a proactive rather than reactive youth program, and it makes positive difference for all who participate. I thank you very much and enjoy your goodies that you have in your box, and have a very Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you.
See, I was going to ask you all to sit and let the board stand and salute you all. That's right. So if you could sit and let us have the opportunity to stand and clap for you. Yeah. The things that you pointed out tonight, not only to this board but to the community as a whole, is what makes this night so very special to me. Many of us have sat here and watched from the very first year 4-H'er come through to many of those that you now claim that this is your last year. We have watched you transform from eager children wanting to learn into very well-respected young adults who have learned such valuable lessons. So as we stand for you, please know that we are standing for the parents and for the leaders for the time that you've put into helping these children be there. Thank you. tears to my eyes. I sit here and I keep going reminiscing back to when I was a 4-H'er and have watched my kids go through it, and now I've got grandkids sitting out there. And it's like, this is just amazing. So I can't tell you enough how thankful I am for all of you.
Commissioner Hutchinson, somebody
Yes.
took my Kleenex, so I can't help you with
I'm not going to
that.
cry.
Because you guys do it to me every year.
I'm
Of course,
not
I
gonna
am
cry.
that guy that does it. So. I just want to tell you, you have inspired me so. I've heard about the beach cleanups, the water cleanups, the neighborhood cleanups. I've heard about the gardening projects and so on and so forth. I have my own garden now because of you, and I'm actually creating my own rubs because of you, because I've had some rubs that were so good I had to look at your rub recipes to see if I could emulate them, but I can't. They're really too good, but thank you so very much.
Awesome. Forget all that. I'm just eating the food that they brought. I don't care about anything else, so dig in,
I tell you,
No,
you know,
That's the bad part about being here.
Like a lot of my...
You don't put food in front of me and expect me not to eat it now. Come on.
could you pass the pan, please?
Oh, man, I've already passed it this way. It's not going that way. You have your own.
Like everybody else up here, I just want to say thank you all so very much. I am aware of all the time and all the effort. Once upon a time, for a short period of time, I was a 4-H mom, so I am very aware of what goes into the making of a 4-H club. The hours and hours Miss Munyon spoke about, the time that all families, whether you are leaders or not, put into this effort is just amazing. I heard today on the news they were talking about education. I'm not going to get into the results. What I do want to mention is, and I don't even remember what country it was, but some country which is way up there in the rankings for worldwide youth education was complaining that they had so many calls from parents. They just couldn't handle all the parent input and all the parent activity. Well, you parents, whether you are leaders or whether you are just here supporting your kids this evening, you're why this all happens. And not to diminish any accomplishment the kids, all of the young people put forward, because I know you work hard at it too. But I just want to thank you so much. And I've got to tell you, I noticed as I was sitting up here, and this doesn't usually happen, I like my job, don't get me wrong, but I don't usually sit up here and smile all night. And you guys get me smiling this evening. So thank you so much for the gifts. I want you to know my children, who are 23 and 32, ask me every year, when is 4-H night? So they will be looking for the box to come home. I want you to know when I first came, it was a bag. But there are so many groups now. It has just grown over the years. And like Commissioner Hutchinson, it's something I'm not only very grateful for and very proud of, well, I'm just so very proud of all of you, so thank you so much.
I just want to say to Ms. Munyon and all the volunteers, this is where leadership in America takes place. Really helping the young men and young ladies, the students per se, understand the small, simple things can be more meaningful to life than anything that they can buy with money. And this is the value of what we have, and this is truly building and making America better. And we appreciate you, we support you, and guess what? You spoke tonight, and 6 years ago you wouldn't be able to do it, but tonight you did it, and guess what? You could be president one day. All in the name of 4-H. So just continue, Ms. Munyon, to do what you're doing, and my hat's off to you and also your volunteers. $300,000 worth of volunteering hours. You all need to go out to lunch. Congratulations.
Thank you again, and Merry Christmas to each of you. At this time, the board will take a 5-minute recess. We'll come back to orders of the Board of County Commissioners. At this time, we'll move into tonight's public comment. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board? Yes, sir. Please feel free to come up.
Only if they bring food and goodies tonight.
Got yours already.
My name is Lee Lamson. I reside at 2091 Southeast Irwin Road in Port St. Lucie and Sandpiper, 20-year resident of the Treasure Coast. And I'm here to represent the American Coalition for Property Rights. Before you groan and say, oh no, not you guys again, this is just a follow-up courtesy visit to one. Well, before I say that, I've got to tell you that this is thrilling for me tonight to see what just happened. And I can see why there are nights that you really do enjoy being county commissioners, to see all the youth and what they do with the, with 4-H. To me, it's terrific. And I was really excited to see all this. And it got me to thinking that what you folks did, and we're here to commend you on your vote to withdraw from 750. What you did really does preserve property rights by withdrawing, and help these folks to move on and protect their property rights of their families down the road. But what I wanted to ask you tonight is, you did formally vote to withdraw. However, the original agreement that was signed by the county, called the Sustainable Communities Consortium Grant Agreement, which was not signed by one of you commissioners, it was signed by one of the staff members, as many of you know, does require that a written letter be sent to the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council to withdraw.
There was one.
And if there was one sent, we would respectfully ask, as a representative from the county, from the Coalition to Property Rights, that we had a copy of that. And that's all I was here to ask for.
That could be made available.
And you all know how to get in touch with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody with the Dunkin' Donuts.
What happened? You already groaning? I'm not from those guys. Good evening, commissioners. Good to see everybody.
Good evening.
For the record, Patrick Campion, 6030 Indrio Road, Fort Pierce. First off, I want to say congratulations, Madam Chair, for taking the gavel, and Madam Vice Chair. I'm not sure if staff knows or if anybody knows, is that something that's occurred before in St. Lucie County, where we've had a woman chair and vice chair at the same time? Well, if not, I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for any county, and certainly for St. Lucie County, and I congratulate you both. And as always, thank you for your work. I'm here to talk about our old friend, the fertilizer ordinance. Now, don't groan. I understand last meeting we had staff come and return a report. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend that meeting. I understand now we're at the point of crafting, putting the wording together for a meaningful fertilizer ordinance in the county. I understand there's been multiple versions and revisions, and there is certainly some strong ordinances north and south of here. There's lots of great wording in those. I don't think it would be necessarily plagiarizing if we took some of that wording for ourselves and put that into effect. I don't want people to forget the brutal summer that we went through. Of course, summer comes once a year, and those rains will come back and the locks will open, and of course there's certainly nothing in your control as far as the lake and the discharges, but there is something you can do, and which is pass a meaningful fertilizer ordinance to at least mitigate the pollutants runoff of nitrogen and phosphorus into our local waterways. And I will come back here and keep on talking about it until we get it passed. As always, I thank you for your time, your hard work, and have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners, and
Good evening.
I would also like to extend my congratulations to Commissioner Hutchinson for taking the gavel.
Thank you.
I'm sure she'll use it well. And I was also very impressed with the previous presentations. They did keep it under 5 minutes each, which was probably pretty good, so I very much appreciate it. It's good to see the youth of this county. The attempted regionalization of our county government has made us aware that we cannot rely on our elected officials to be educated on every vote that they make. Your staff does most of the research, and you should depend on their knowledge and experience in making most of your decisions. We are sure there will be times that require a contrasting opinion, and we will work and we will seek those opportunities out and provide that contrast. The American Coalition for Property Rights now understands this concept and will need to be diligent in monitoring the many issues that come before this commission, and especially those that never seem to see the day of light, such as 750. Programs such as 750 is the federal government's attempt to rein in city and county governments by requiring them to meet federal standards written by faceless bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. This is not good for our businesses, our communities, or our citizens, and it must be stopped. Yes, there is a chair at the table for our elected officials, but the table is littered with people who are more concerned about their future than that of the citizens you represent. Our commission is just a fraction of the consortium, so your input is diluted. The decisions you make while you sit on this dais is 100% of the laws and rules we abide by in St. Lucie County, and we'd like to keep that balance. We realize that we have only closed the front door to the regionalization of our community. This still leaves the back and side doors partially open to regionalists and their swan song of a better life for all. They will not go away, and I am sure you have already heard from their minions as to what you can do to still participate. They represent the federal government and not the citizens of St. Lucie County. We will assist you and back you on any decisions you decide to make to keep the federal government out of our communities. We would suggest that any grant from the federal government that you intend to apply for be open to public debate prior to your efforts to see if the grant is truly something your citizens want to explore. It is time that individuals and businesses get involved in their government. It is the people who show up that help create our community. The American Coalition for Property Rights plans to keep showing up, and we would encourage all within the sound of my voice to do the same. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good
My name is
evening.
Frederick Jackson, 617 Exoria Avenue here in Fort Pierce, Florida. I stand today to bring attention. I'm working on a campaign to help bring awareness to the general public as it pertains to those that are incarcerated inmates, as well as those that have been released from prison or county jails. With conversation and reports that have been made in various talk shows over several weeks, we know that St. Lucie County was also one that have been brought to that attention, that facts in conversations that have been shared by way of radio, by way of newspaper, just bringing information. I want to just share with you all on this evening my concern, which I do believe that it is a time that in America, that we as Americans, really all across America, needs to sit down and take a serious look at what's happening with those who are incarcerated. It is said that the entire world's population is about 7,123,000,000. And here in America, with our population being over the 300 million mark, yet America represents about 4.5, I would say 4.5% of the entire world's population. But we have about 25% of the world's incarcerated people, or people under some sort of correctional supervision, whether it be probation, parole, or whether they're incarcerated. That is quite a bit. Well, I do believe, as I said earlier, it's time for us to take a look at some matters here in America. But charity begins at home and then spreads abroad. Home being St. Lucie County. With my experience as being a former inmate that was also working in a program, well, about 17 years ago in the Department of Corrections called PRIDE, Prison Rehabilitation Industry and Diversified Enterprises. This particular program oversee at that time and is still in existence today, oversee and help provide services to individuals not only that were incarcerated to help them with work and to become active and productive and to take on things that would help better them while they're there and make them well prepared for when they get out. But it also helps various industries as well, various industries and businesses. It is my thought that if it is any way possible that the leaders of this county can get together and revisit some sort of plan, some sort of goal, some sort of vision for those that are incarcerated, those that have been released, to help in the area of whatever it takes to help prepare them to be successful upon their release, to have meaningful employment, that it is high time to do that. Not saying that we don't have things in place now, I believe we do, but I believe that we should really continue every effort possible to do what we can to help. I'm hoping that someone could consider, regardless of the charge, those that are incarcerated here in our county jails, put them to work. I believe it would help with motivation, help with the spirit, and even back then when Pride paid 15 to 50 cents per hour some 17 years ago, even if it's today here in St. Lucie County, if we could give them $1 per hour. I don't know. Today's headlines, Palm Beach Post said something to that effect. If you look at Palm Beach Post about how much it saved the county. And for further information or sharing my experiences with you, if I could be of any help, 323-4709. Phone number is 323-4709. I'm sorry I wasn't able to share everything at this time, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, John Debius, 5244 Compass Cove, Fort Pierce. Just a couple things. Just want to let you know that AC4PR does not represent all St. Lucie County. And just a reminder that you all do represent all the people of St. Lucie County. Many people that never show up here. I'm not going to go into further that craziness or whatever. I'm actually here basically because I want to come up and put my voice into about the fertilizer ordinance. I've been following along the Treasure Coast, Vero Beach is finalized there, the Indian River County's done theirs, Martin County's done theirs. All have revised to the strong fertilizer ordinance, and I urge you all to follow the lead, protect our river. That's what Fort Pierce, St. Lucie County, the Treasure Coast is the river. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening, Madam Chairman, Commissioners,
Good evening.
Ms. Outlaw, Mr. McIntyre, and your illustrious staff. And the cameras, that's the public there, those cameras, hi public, hi mom. Okay, Richard Silvestri, 5708 Buchanan Drive, Fort Pierce. I don't know if you saw today's opinion page in the, I get the copy of the News Tribune, T.C. Palm's paper, and they were talking about, I don't know, global warming, climate change, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's global warming. I won't take the easy way out and say climate change. They're pretty much, it's obvious whoever wrote the editorial, which I assume is Mr. Brunges and Mr. Reisman, et cetera, their staff down there, that they didn't listen too much to some of the comments that have been brought here for the last couple of months about there is no global warming, there is no climate change, et cetera, et cetera. They pretty much said that what I've been saying for over a year now, it's not even up for debate anymore. It's like, what are we going to do about it? So I just want to go back a little bit to March. I've been involved with the Keystone XL pipeline movement to stop it. and I've been involved in it for over a year. I got so much involved in it that Nancy and I got on a plane and flew out to Omaha and rented a car. This was back in March, and rented a car and drove out to, can't think of the name of the city, where the State Department held their hearings for public input for the interim environmental impact statement on the KXL pipeline. And it was very interesting to see the groups that came up there. The first person to speak was from the American Petroleum Institute, and then Native Americans. Some people refer to them as the indigenous people. It's kind of funny because I talked to some kids at one time at a reservation out in Nebraska, and I said, what do you like? You like to be called Indians or Native Americans? And they said, we're Indians. So, so much for political correctness. Anyway, they were there and they talked about, all the treaties that have been broken, and nobody talked to these Indians about bringing this pipeline through their reservation. And then we had ranchers out there whose families came out on the Oregon Trail and the Mormon Trail and the California Trail through Nebraska. That's all one trail. And they came out for one reason or other. The wagon broke down, and there they stayed, and they got their thousands of acres of ranch. And here comes this Canadian company, TransCanada, that's going to bring oil from Canada through Nebraska, through the United States, and is going to divide these people's 5,000-acre ranch, say, with this 3-foot diameter pipeline down the middle. And they were talking about the arrogance of the TransCanada surveyors, saying, this is a done deal. Eminent domain's going to take your ranch. Eminent domain's going to take your ranch. So much for property rights. Because this is in the national interest to bring this oil through. Now, we haven't figured out, and I've been watching all these facts for over a year. The facts don't change. The oil's coming from Canada. It's going to Texas. It's going overseas to foreign markets. I know. I've driven. I've paddled a kayak, as many of you know, all over this country. And I've seen the refineries out in the West. There's one out in Sinclair, Wyoming, right on Interstate 80. You could bring the oil in there. You could put it on refine it, put it on tank trucks, sell it to Americans. They have all these lies that this is going to make America energy independence. It isn't. Well, the point I'm trying to make is we want to bring jobs to this county. Great. We brought a bunch of jobs here. TD Bank, they got several branches in the county, have all these jobs. They're open 6 or 7 days a week, I think 7 days a week. The full name of TD Bank is Toronto Dominion. They're a Canadian bank. They're one of the major stockholders in TransCanada, which is building the KXL pipeline. Okay, I just want to, maybe you're going to say I'm radical when I sit down, and I am radical. So is the rocket I just saw go up at 6:30 by a private individual, this young guy, Elon Musk, who's 35 years old, and only NASA could send up those rockets. He's pretty radical, too. Okay, and that rocket went up, and that's the second one I've watched of his, and he's sent up many more. Anyway, radical idea is this. I'm asking this county commission to tell TD Bank to pack it up and get out of our county. And if you want to say, well, gee, what's KXL pipeline got to do? You know what? They're going to pollute our atmosphere. Global warming's real. Carbon dioxide's a major factor. Comes out of burning fossil fuels. Okay, we got this bank here in town that's lying to the depositors. Okay, banks are supposed to be to give you home mortgages, to give you business loans to start a business. What are they doing in the oil business? Well, it's like the Wall Street banks. What were they doing with derivatives? It's just so rottenly corrupt. I'm going to have to stop. But anyway, you get the point. Tell TD Bank, Toronto Dominion Bank, to pack it up. It's our air, your air, my grandkids' air. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Wilson, how are you?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of the public safety entities in St. Lucie County to remind everyone, especially our public, that tomorrow there will be an emergency management mock disaster that is going to be conducted in St. Lucie County. The majority of the activities will be centered around the sports complex, the Met Stadium down in St. Lucie West. Lawnwood Hospital will also be involved in it. The event begins at about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. It will run into the afternoon. People can expect to hear simulated gunfire, maybe some explosions, and things of that nature. And we just want to remind everyone that this is a drill and that it is being controlled by emergency management personnel from the federal government who will be here. We will be testing all of our capabilities at the hospitals, first responders, and trying to make sure that we are prepared for any type of disaster that might come to St. Lucie County. It will involve all 3 police agencies. It will involve the fire district, American Red Cross, Department of Health, and as I said, the hospital staff. So this is something that people need to be reminded of. It will be a little bit different than their normal day when the activities begin, but we just thought it was important to remind everyone what will be going on, if anybody has any questions.
Real quick, Chief, if I may. If they're not able to make it tomorrow because work, school, or whatever, is there any opportunity for them to catch this courtesy of video?
Well, first of all, the event itself is not going to be open to the public. You know, the public won't be able to come and watch it, but it is my understanding that there will be some video footage. The media will be involved and staged in certain areas. So, yes, to answer your question, Commissioner, there will be opportunities to actually see it after the fact.
Good. And the reason why I asked that question, a lot of times people don't understand the work that goes on behind the scenes to prepare for situations like this, especially disaster situations.
Yes.
And we have to be ready at all costs, but we also need obedient citizens during that time to convey with authority, because it makes your job difficult and it makes it hard for us to keep everybody safe if they're not conforming to the rules and regulations of what you've committed during that time period.
That's absolutely true. Any other questions?
Commissioner, they have a defined area and it's set up with perimeter so people aren't wandering in and out of it. It's all set up with really actors and people that participate, and then all the agencies follow the protocol as they move through that aspect. So it's something where they stage it extremely well, but then they set up situations and scenarios so they can test their crew and test their staff to see how they would respond, and everything from hazmat, you name it, so they want to walk through that aspect.
Awesome. Thank you.
And having been a first responder, practice makes perfect. And given what we saw in Boston during the marathon, there were a number of personnel available and on scene. And because of the training that they had, similar to what you're going to be doing tomorrow, they were able to respond even in the most chaotic of situations. And that's what we try to do. We create the chaotic situation in a controlled situation so that when the actual chaos does occur, we can respond appropriately.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate the effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Is there anyone further? Yes.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name's Sheila Markell. I live at 153 Rio Mar Drive. I'm here regarding a drainage problem on Rio Mar. I started 13 years ago about the drainage problem with the county. Called people, have pictures from 13 years ago. Took the recommendation to from the county to dig a ditch down the center of my property and drain my yards and my neighbors' yards. And the problem wasn't solved. My significant other, Glenn Clark, and I, again this past summer, put out a lot of money, spent a lot of money and time digging and putting in 3 retention basins to drain the water from my backyard to the storm drain on Rio Mar Drive. I have 3 storm drains on my property on Rio Mar Drive, none of which can drain properly because Rio Mar Drive doesn't drain properly. We have broken pipes, we have swales that aren't swales, we have drainage under Rio Mar and Altura Avenue that don't go anywhere because they're not maintained. I have many, many pictures of the work we did this summer, what was done 13 years ago, and it didn't work. Our system that we installed this summer works. We're even draining our back neighbor's yard too, because for some reason he was allowed to build his house so high and drain into our yard and his neighboring yards. And according to what I was told, that is breaking a Florida statute law that nobody can drain onto another person's property. But nothing has happened to this gentleman. We had 3 people representing the county come out this past July and stood in my backyard and saw the standing water, the mosquitoes, the larvae, the tadpoles, everything that grows in swampy waters. And he told us, the engineer, Mr. Halter, told us that he was going to get in touch with my neighbor and tell him to put a French drain around his property and drain to the front of his house, which I understand is what's supposed to happen in St. Lucie County. Needless to say, my back neighbor has not put a shovel in the ground to do any of that, whereas Glenn and I have. We have tried to maintain our runoff and put it to Riomar Drive, which is successful when the storm drains work, which haven't worked for many years. We have requested, talked to, called, emailed several people in the county, in code enforcement, in water management, I have documentation of phone calls from 13 years ago up until this past summer. And my problem is nobody's doing anything to make this problem go away. And I would like somebody to please do something to get the water draining from Riomar Drive. I was told by water management, Glenn was told by water management manager that River Park has had a drainage problem for a long, long time. Well, please, somebody, fix it. Fix the drains, fix the swales that aren't swales, because they're just all grown in. And I would really appreciate somebody getting in contact with me. Thank you.
If I could have you, I don't see Missy, if you could see Susie and give her your number and contact number, I will be more than happy to give you a call and get with staff first. So if you can allow me those 2 days to get with staff and get all the backup. But in the meantime, we will get in touch with you.
I have pictures from 13 years ago, documented phone calls, and pictures from this past summer of all the hard work we've done. And I'm not asking for anybody to pay our bills. What I'm asking for is for somebody to please get rid of the water on Riomar Drive. It's horrible. And it's not just for me, it's for my neighbors. We've had cars go into ditches on the west side of Riomar Drive because the water's covered from one yard across the street into my yard, and they've gone into the ditch not even knowing there was a ditch there and been stuck because the water is so high and not draining. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wonder if you'd pass these out. I have 8 copies there for you all. If you just take a look, you can be able to follow what I'm talking about. Just pass those out. Hello, my name is David Kaplan. I'm president of the River Park Neighborhood Association. As Sheila pointed out to you, river parks, we feel, have been neglected somewhat. It's one of the older parts of the community that General Development did many years ago. We know they didn't do a very good job of planning. That's why we don't have sidewalks. And of course, we have swales, but many of the swales have been filled in. At one time, people were allowed to put storm drainage pipes in and cover them over, so we have a combination of open swales and storm drain pipes. I just did a quick survey here the other day, going down 2 blocks of southeast Naranja, starting at Prima Vista and going south around the corner. And as you see by the list here of homes that I have, the drainage underneath the pipes, at 464, both ends of driveways are blocked. Gasparilla, north end, where it crosses the road, is blocked. At 458, the intake under Naranja is blocked from the south end. At 450, outfall blocked. 442, it goes right on down, both ends being blocked. And then down at the very end, and I have some pictures too that I've included in there of Caprona. There's a situation over there where there's a pump station on Caprona, and there was a force main break. When the city came out and fixed their force main, they didn't take in consideration reestablishing the swale, so it has a little ditch block there that holds water back. Again, they did their repair, but didn't think about restoring the canal, the little ditch, so that the water gets held up there and it backs in. If you look at my 3rd page there, you'll see some water backed up on Gasparilla, right there by Caprona, where it crosses the street because they can't make around the corner there. There's also a driveway, an empty lot. Where that pump station is, the city of Port St. Lucie bought the home, knocked it down in order to build a new pump station there because of their existing ones getting old and outdated.
The driveway leading into that, which I have the picture of there, like I said, at 923, it's the next to last page at the top. That driveway, both ends of the pipe have been crushed on it. When they destroyed the home, they came in with a big crane. They cracked the concrete and bent the ends of the pipe. And then the number one thing here at the end also, the last page at the top, very difficult to see, but on southeast Naranja, we've had corrugated metal pipe that started to fail, and so the county's come in and put liners in it. Well, that's fine and dandy. It's a quick fix. We appreciate them, maintaining drainage. But at one time, there was a reason why that was a 30-inch pipe, the amount of water we had. And you can see by that picture, which I took during a rainstorm, it's filled just almost to the very top. But if you look at my calculations at the bottom of the first page, when you take a 30-inch pipe and reduce it to 24 inches, you're reducing the water capacity by 36%. And this is what's taken place there. So I'm asking you to come out and to restore the pipe, replace them back to their original size so we get the drainage back. Check our swales there where it's blocked. There's a number of issues. I'd love to take somebody just down the road and point these out to them. I appreciate your effort. After being here tonight and seeing the amazing number of things that you have to go through, it's tough. It's really tough. And I was on that planning board one time, the 750 Club, they call it, or wherever, about that. And sometimes I think that a lot of people are nearsighted. I think the term is a NIMBY, not in my backyard. Nobody wants the oil pipeline. Nobody wants the big brother coming in and overseeing what's done. But on the same token, we have to look at regional areas and how our transportation is and how we're going to get people in and out. When there's a hurricane and everybody wants to evacuate, they all complain about 95 being blocked up, the turnpike being blocked up, and we can't go out. And they're all looking to you all and the government and everybody else to make it right for them. Well, we just can't make everything right. The money's tight for everyone. Your money costs, it's our taxpayer money that's paying this, which is one reason why we come back to simple things like the drainage. When the federal government changes the flood zones and all that, that's going to affect all of our pockets. But you, the county, by reducing the pipe size, will actually make our homes flood. And so we need some attention. Please help us with that. And I appreciate that.
Sitting right over you, if you will also give her your
I
contact
sure will.
information.
One other quick public
You don't
service
have it
announcement,
on
if you could.
Sure,
People
you
with the
got
street lights, FP&L, if your lights are out in your neighborhood, there's a number on the pole. Look it up. Call FP&L. We all pay. Everybody every day pays for street lights. If it's not working, we don't get the benefit. So please take care of the pole. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, for the record, and I'm trying to look here, you're Mr. Kaplan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes.
I see it now, sorry. Hello.
Hi.
My name's Peter Debus. I reside at 20700 Glades Cutoff. I'm here to represent myself and Leonard Mecca, who has a property on Carlton Adams Road, and it's in concern of 2013242.
Okay, I need to interrupt you. Right now, we're under public comment. That is a public hearing, and at that time, unless you're unable to stay for the hearing, which should be coming up shortly.
Okay.
No,
that's why I asked her. She said either way, so. Yeah.
No, if you're unable to stay, we can
No,
go
I
ahead and have
can
your
stay.
comments now. But if you can wait till then, it's public hearing at that time, we can open it up.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board? Seeing no one, will close tonight's public comment, move on to today's consent agenda. Is there anything from the agenda that needs to be pulled for a separate vote and/or discussion?
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Moving on to tonight's regular agenda, there is one item that has been tabled and will be presented at the December 17th board meeting, and that is V7-B6. Mr. McIntyre, are you going to be taking the first on our...
Yes, Madam Chair. The first item will be handled by Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, for the record, Assistant County Attorney Catherine Barbieri. What you have before you is property located at 207 North 39th Street, Fort Pierce, Florida. It went before the Code Enforcement Board and was found in violation of Section 1932D, overgrowth and grass and weeds, and Section 13 in Land Development Code for unsecured and open structure. They found him in violation. And at the fine hearing on October 22nd, St. Lucie County Code Enforcement Board ordered staff to bring this to the Board of County Commissioners as the violations had not been abated and the conditions causing the violations presented a serious threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. Section 162 of Florida statute allows us to bring it to the board and the board to order that the violations be corrected and that a lien be placed on the property. Notice has been provided to the property owner and staff has had no contact with the property owner. We are requesting that we be allowed to go on the property, abate the overgrowth, and secure the open doors and windows, and place a lien on the property for the costs.
Are there any questions from the board? At this time, this is a public, no, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board? Seeing none, I do believe we have just a small presentation that the staff would like to give us in regards to letting both this board witness along with the public the opportunity to see what it is we're going to be doing to some of these homes that we're coming in and cleaning up like this.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity this evening. I'd like to share with you a new tool that code enforcement has in our toolbox. I'd like to, in doing that, thank the county administrator. She provided us with the connection to this company. She met a sales representative at a conference who approached her and offered his business card, and it's a new concept for us. We contacted the gentleman, and he was on our doorstep the next day. Home Illusions is the name of the company. It is a Michigan-based company, and they do have a satellite office on the West Coast in Sarasota County. What they provide is a product that simulates windows and doors. We have a sample of it here that Danielle will hand out so you can kind of feel what the product really is. In this simulation, it gives the appearance that the home is no longer vacant or abandoned. And these are the homes that it goes on. So in doing so, it can reduce the blight in the neighborhood, maintain property values, beautify a neighborhood. And we've done several homes already. Here are some of the faux window products you can see. It is a vinyl material. It is actually glued and tacked on to plywood. And then here's some of the faux doors. The cost of the product can vary depending on the number of openings. A window may cost $45 and a front door $75. Installation is typically $25 per opening. The average house would be about $250. We do not intend to use this on every single home that we board up. We will strictly apply it to blighted areas. However, we will review on a case-by-case the need, and as you'll see in our presentation this evening, that we did do it on a home that's most definitely not in a blighted area, but it was in a highly visible area, and we felt it was necessary. This was the first home we did, and Home Illusions actually provided the installation and the materials at no cost to the county, and the door was already actually applied, and I apologize for not having the image. This is an after picture. As you can see, 2 windows, a front door have been applied, and also the light blue area was a large opening that we had boarded up, and they can do a solid color, and we chose to do a lighter blue. So they did do that. While we were there, staff and Home Illusions, we had several neighbors stop And as you're driving by, close up you can tell it's a decal basically. But as you drive by from the roadside, your curbside appeal is truly enhanced. And the neighbors were pleased, and they were happy the property got cleaned up and looked like an occupied residence. This is another home we did in the River Park area on Prima Vista Boulevard. Several weeks ago, there was an automobile crash, and we thought it would be necessary to do this home. So we immediately contacted the homeowner, requested permission to enter the property, board it up, and also install the Home Illusions product. In doing so, in our contact with the homeowner, we requested they mow the yard. They live a couple doors away, and they agreed to do so. So it worked out for all parties. But they were not willing to do anything else to the home. They have basically abandoned the home. So it does have a much better curbside appearance. Lastly, something very important, I think, to the entire community is we have reached out to our other cities and the City of Fort Pierce Police Department. And they are diligently working to reduce crime in parts of their city. We shared this product with them. They appear to be highly interested, and will be attending our next installation. And looking forward to hopefully they'll be able to use the product too. And that would conclude my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
It's my understanding, thank you, that the cost of this is also put against the house. It's not one that when we do the boarding up and so forth, and that lien is put against the house. The cost of this also goes with it, does it not?
Actually, it does not. It is a cost incurred by the county. That's why staff does intend to be very diligent on what homes we use it on, because it is a cost that we cannot recoup.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Why can't we recoup it?
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Does he have a question?
Commissioner.
Madam Chair, the statute allows us to put a lien on the property for our fines and for repairs or costs to the property. So it would have to be whether this is determined to be part of the repair. I guess it would have. If it's not, if it's just for the aesthetics, then it would not. So that would be the issue. And it's under Florida statutes. We're only allowed to do it for fines and repairs.
I feel like I'm in that Jim Carrey movie where they come down to the 1%. So I have a chance. See that? So, I mean, it sounds like we would have the opportunity to actually push that issue. She's looking at you, Dan.
Yes, Commissioners, what I will do is, again, this is really haven't heard this issue myself. The first time I've heard of it. So what I'd like to do is if the board could give me a chance to look at the statute and take a look at it. It seems intuitive that this is not just aesthetic, it also helps secure the building. So perhaps, we can get there through that. But I just need to take a look at it because, again, I want to make sure that the advice that I give you is thought through, and that I take a look at the statute. And I
think that's appropriate, because I actually got caught off guard too. I thought we were able to do it. So
right.
This was news to me.
And I'm certainly not trying to second guess anybody. It's appropriate to be conservative, but let's take a look at it now, and I'll certainly get back to you.
Okay, but I will tell you, the product itself, it actually does make a huge difference even within the neighborhood itself. That you've not seen a house boarded up actually invites trouble to me, even though it needs to be done. It's abandoned. There's nobody's going to be watching it, so it's like an open key. But so something like this to me is a benefit along those lines of cleaning it up. So thank you.
If I could, Madam
Yes.
Chair, when I was at the ICMA conference in Boston, there was a major presentation, about this product and what have you, and the number of the contacts that I made from different municipalities, were ranting and raving about having used it and the difference that it made in the appearance of their neighborhood. So that's what caused me to, then engage in a discussion with the company given that we were beginning to see more and more, unfortunately, code enforcement cases come before the board that included boarding of buildings and doors and what have you. And while that secures the property, it does present a blight when you see boarded up, houses within our neighborhoods. And I know we're very conscientious about that and thought that it would be a direction that we could pursue.
No, I'm excited by the idea of doing it. So, all right.
Thank you.
Moving back to the board, is there a motion for staff recommendation?
Madam Chair, move staff recommendation
Second.
to obey.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to ordinance 2013-43, Land Development Code text amendment change. Good evening, Ms. Olson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. For the record, Leslie Olson, Planning Manager. This evening, it is my pleasure to present two items initiated by this Board at the June 2013 Strategic Planning Sessions. This Board directed staff to craft two Land Development Code text amendments with an eye toward positioning St. Lucie County for economic development upon a rebound in the economy. As these county-initiated text amendments are similar in spirit, staff will present the items together and ask the Commission to open the public hearing separately. The text amendments before the Commission this evening are short-term site plan extensions and amending our off-street parking regulations to bring them in line with industry standard, thus reducing the amount of unused parking at new businesses. These items were advertised in the St. Lucie News Tribune on November 21st, 2013. Since the beginning of the recession, the state has adopted 3 short-term extensions to allow local governments to administratively grant 2-year extensions to approved expiring site plans. This allowed previously reviewed and approved site plans to remain active during the economic downturn. While the state adopted these provisions for 2009, 2010, and 2011, these statutory extensions are now expiring and no further statutory extensions are on the horizon. The BOCC has directed staff to craft a local ordinance based on these statutory extensions to provide a short-term local fix while the local economy continues to recover. As you can see, over 30 site plans have expired or will expire in the next few years. All these approvals have gone through an intensive interdepartmental and intergovernmental review and finally approval by the BOCC. Providing an opportunity for these site plans to remain valid for an additional 2 years positions St. Lucie County for a faster recovery. Developers will not need to repeat the time-intensive and expensive process of gaining approvals to develop land which was previously entitled. Staff proposes an amendment intended to act as a stopgap, modeled on the statutory extensions. All site plans expiring between January 1st, 2013 and December 31st, 2014 will be eligible. The process will be administrative review and approval initiated by a letter from the property owner. It has a sunset. It's a short-term economic development solution and provides a sunset date of the end of 2014. It is limited by any site plan being in substantial conformity with its conditions of approval. For instance, if a developer is required to dedicate right-of-way within a certain amount of time and that has gone beyond that time, they will not be eligible until they come into conformity with that condition of approval. Staff is also directed to right-size our off-street parking requirements. As seen on this comparison chart, our Land Development Code often requires more parking than the Institute for Traffic Engineers, often by quite a lot. The ITE regularly does studies and use patterns for a variety of uses and regularly updates its manual. Staff proposes adopting the ITE standards by reference, thus bringing our parking requirements into line with industry standard, which will be automatically updated. This will reduce the cost of development, increase the amount of green space, decrease the need for stormwater retention, and reduce heat islands created by asphalt. I can't leave something alone once I get in it. So once I was in the parking amendment or parking ordinance, I reorganized it for clarity, removed some redundancies, and the only substantive change I made in addition was to allow the possibility for an expansion or a change of use that is currently non-conforming with its parking requirements to demonstrate that they have adequate parking and then only park the expansion. Right now, they're required to park the entire thing. We also retained all waivers, deferrals, and alternatives provisions in the code. Therefore, we recommend that the BOCC direct staff to schedule a second and final reading of the site plan extension ordinance for December 17th, 2013, and for the off-street parking ordinance for December 17th, 2013.
Are there any questions from the board at this time?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Leslie, this is extending the statutory extensions by 1 year, correct? Or 2 years?
We have various expiration dates on all of these because they got layered on top of one another.
But I guess the simple answer is the 2014 is the sunset date on this, correct? And
Yes.
so two things occur here. One, that we are being proactive for the development community to be responsive and understanding that they're having a chance here to not have to go through the expensive process of going through site plan review over again.
Right.
So this is actually an encouragement to the development community that you're getting a shot here to get your site plans moving and encouraging economic development in St. Lucie County. So I appreciate that as a thought process from the staff side of things. But on the other side of that, this will now have pushed some of these projects out almost 5 years or more in some cases. So that begins to become a concern for me that quite the opposite will occur, that these developments won't occur and the economic development won't happen. And I think we're on that cusp right now. I'm going to support this because I think it's important for the economic development at this time. But going forward, I don't know that I could support it again as another extension because I think we have to really impress upon the development community it's time to invest in St. Lucie County again. And then on the parking requirement, I appreciate the idea of moving into the ITE provisions, and that is constantly updated in about every couple of years, every 3 years, give or take?
It appears so.
Okay.
They publish a new manual about every few years.
And I know that the Planning Commission had some concerns on changing this or not having developed a local provision. Can you talk a little bit about the local provision and does it even exist or should we even create one?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Local standards would be incredibly costly to create. Parking studies would need to be done for every use, and we would need multiple examples of each use. The cost to the taxpayer would be monumental to create local standards based on the same evidence that the ITE uses. And while the ITE and parking studies in general tend to find use type variations in parking, rural standards, suburban standards, urban standards, parking varies that way. It does not vary too much from one part of the country to another. It's more about what your type of development is. So it's a good question.
Along those thoughts, I saw where you recommended or stated that there would be some reduction in the need for additional stormwater drainage because the impervious surfaces obviously would be less.
Right.
But maybe this is where we have the conversation where the developers, while will not have to create this much more parking, maybe on the benefit side of that is creating more retention, holding the stormwater on site longer so they don't go to the system and ultimately end up in our lagoon and in our canals. So maybe this is a time where, because we're doing this, there's an opportunity to have a conversation to review the site plan development side, and rather than building the parking, create more opportunity for drainage and stormwater management.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair. Love the role change. Just a comment. I think it's great that we're actually going in this direction as it relates to the ITE manual. It is given so much scrutiny. The amount of studies that they go into to develop the standards for that, the AM, the PM, peak hours that they consider when they look at each of the various uses, the wide variety of factors that are considered when developing the standards, I think are important. And I think you'll find that most people that are in the industry will actually support and applaud this effort, knowing that it's tied to that standard. Unlike the standard, the industrial code that we're using for our other uses, which, although that is a national standard, that is something that is not appreciated because it doesn't quite relate at all to our area. But the ITE manual for parking, I think, will be extremely helpful there. And maybe just to help clarify a little bit to the Commissioner's comment, these really, my understanding is that this amendment is applying for those site plans that are eligible for a 2-year extension that were set to expire this year through December the 31st. So that's not about a 1 year or whatever, but it was for those that were set to expire and were eligible for that 2 years. So rather than having to go through the process, they'll be able to do it administratively. That's the understanding that I had. Am I
Commissioner,
That's the general?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
This amendment will apply to any site plan, whether it has been granted previous statutory or extensions or not, whether it falls under that or just a regular old site plan that was going to expire anyway. Anything that would be expiring between January 1st of this year, so even if it's already expired, through December 31st of next year,
Correct.
They will all be eligible.
Are there any further questions or
Do they have to
comments?
apply? Is there a process for application,
Yes.
or they just automatically go
No, they
through?
have to
they
apply
have to
through
apply.
staff, and then staff have to go through and evaluate that process to see.
It's a letter.
They actually have to provide why they're asking for the extension and what factors.
But it's very simple. It will be very simple.
The blood sample is included with that?
No, we're not equipped with phlebotomists and planning staff.
I just need to get kind of a little bit of direction here. Are these considered, these are public hearings even though we're going to be scheduling the second one, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to address the board strictly on the Land Development Code text in relation to the site plan extensions? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and come back to the board. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in
Actually, we're
favor?
not doing any approval because we're just doing second reading.
To move to the second reading.
That's right. We have to, the second reading, as I understand it, is December 17th at 9 a.m. or soon thereafter, as the item may be heard.
Is that your motion, Commissioner?
We don't need a motion.
Just to move it?
I
Okay.
think so. It's up to you, but I think we could just move.
Consensus.
All right. Now on to public hearing in regards to, we'll open up for public comment under the hearing of ordinance 2013-44, the Land Development Code text in regard to the revision of regulations with off-street parking. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and come back to the board. This again is just asking for consensus to hold the second hearing on December 17th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is the public hearing on regards to resolution 2013-242. A mobile home is a single-family detached dwelling unit.
Madam Chair, this is a quasi-judicial public hearing. If the board has any disclosures, this would be the time to do that.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre, and I did receive an email this morning and actually sent it out to all the commissioners and staff.
Madam Chair, I did receive that same email.
That's the only information I've received.
Yes, I received the email as well.
Same.
Okay. Ms. Waite?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commission members. For the record, Diana Waite, Senior Planner, presenting staff comments for the petition of Candace Ross for a Class A mobile home permit to define the Class A mobile home as a single-family detached dwelling in AG5 zoning. The purpose of the proposed petition is to allow the unit to be utilized as a guest house, which is allowed as an accessory use in AG5 zoning. As noted, this is a quasi-judicial public hearing. Proof of the required public notice items may be found in your agenda packages. The applications for Class A mobile home permits are approved administratively, except when property owners within 500 feet of the subject property provides written objections. 2 of the 6 property owners within 500 feet of the property have objected to the application, requiring the board's review and final action on the application. In addition, 1 property owner within 500 feet has responded in favor of the petition, as well as the petitioner, and 1 property owner outside the 500-foot notification area has objected to the petition, and that was the item that you received the email on today. The mobile home would be located on a 7.54-acre parcel located in western St. Lucie County on Carlton Adams Road, which is located approximately 3/4 of a mile north of State Route 70 and 500 feet east of Header Canal Road. The uses surrounding the subject parcel and in the surrounding area are either agriculture or residential. Future land use districts and zoning districts in the surrounding area are also AG5 zoning and future land use as a subject parcel. The picture on your screen shows a view of the subject parcel and the existing single-family home as seen from the right-of-way of Carlton Adams Road. Carlton Adams Road is a county-owned and maintained roadway. The property currently contains a single-family home, agriculture, animals that are owned by the applicant's family. The Class A mobile home would be utilized as a guest house and is expected to be assessed as part of the real property. These photos show a view from the location of the mobile home to the northwest. The red buildings on the property on the left side are on the existing parcel, on the subject parcel, and the trees to the west are the adjacent parcel. The picture on the bottom right screen shows the entrance drive leading from Carlton Adams Road, which would be extended to the subject Class A mobile home. This shows the siding of the mobile home and front door. It's sage green siding similar to a single-family home, and it shows a picture of the mobile home from a distance. Staff has reviewed the petition and found that the proposed amendment is consistent with the county's comprehensive plan and has met the standards of review for a Class A mobile home permit as set forth in the Land Development Code. The standards require the mobile home features to be similar to detached single-family homes. The items that are looked at include the minimum width of the body, the minimum roof pitch, roofing materials, and exterior finish. I would note that this is a new mobile home that's just over 22,000 square feet. In conclusion, staff recommends approval of the requested Class A mobile home permit. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for staff at this time?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
a couple things. We reviewed our mobile home codes of probably 3 or 4 years ago, and wasn't there a definition between a mobile home and a prefabbed home? And this doesn't appear to be a mobile home that's going to be on wheels and on blocks and all that type of thing. Is that accurate to say? I mean, this seems like one of the prefabbed homes that are coming out of manufacturers. It doesn't look like a mobile home per se that rolls in on wheels and they put it up on blocks. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Madam Chairman, pardon me, members of the board, Mark Satterley, Planning and Development Services Director. Right, yeah. we looked at amending the ordinance, and this process is one of those amendments, but we did not change the name. But you're right, this is more of a manufactured house. But it's for sake of consistency with the ordinance as it existed, it's referred to as, it's the mobile home ordinance. Class A is a standard of product that is, as defined in the ordinance, is to look as much like a regular single-family house, but it is a manufactured house.
And a Class A has to be tied down, has to meet those standards, tied to a foundation of some sort, all those types of things, Miami-Dade code on how it's built, hurricane strength and those types of things.
Yes, sir, I do understand it meets the wind load. It will, they will receive tie-down permits. The applicant and their contractors here to address specifics regarding the construction of a mobile home.
All right, that's all I have for now.
And there's just one other item I wanted to clarify. Ms. Wade said it was a guest house, and as a guest house, as defined in the Land Development Code, it is for the non-paying guests or people living on the property. It is not to be made available for rental either annually or seasonally, and the property owner has to sign an affidavit to that effect. That understand that's that would help minimize the likelihood that somebody will inadvertently decide I'll have another lease property and have two single-family residents on the same property.
Are there any other questions from the board at this time? At this time, we'd like to open up the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board? Yes, sir. Now's the time.
Do I need to introduce myself again?
Your time is up.
Time's up. Probably is.
Yes, sir. For the record, you do have to address.
My name's Peter Debus. I reside at 20700 Glades Cutoff Road. I'm here, I guess, to represent myself and future concerns, and for Leonard Mecca, which is a property owner in the vicinity of what I would call a manufactured home. I've seen it. I've listened to this young lady here, all of what they have to do and what they don't. That's not our concerns. Our concerns is opening up things for how would anybody, me included, I have property on Carlton Road that, what can I come in and say, hey, I want to put a bunch of guest home in there and don't charge nobody to live on them. I mean, to me, a guest is somebody that comes and goes, not somebody that resides there on a permanent basis. It's Ag 5, one dwelling per 5 acres. We have a law here, and it seems like it should be adhered to. Or we are going to open up. I have my concerns. That's why I'm representing myself as a property owner on Carlton Road of this happening out there to me. I don't want that. I live out there for a reason, because it is zoned like it is. And that's mine and Mr. Mecca's concerns. Plus property values. Manufactured homes are a known fact to drop surrounding properties. There are some down the road that have been there well before that road was developed, but there's a lot of very nice homes on there that I'm sure that the other people have the same concerns that we do. It's going to drop a property value. And it may be one of the ones that maybe sent you an email or a letter that they're trying to sell their home. So it all comes into play. But, the law's a law. It's Ag 5, one dwelling per 5, and I believe they're short of 8 acres there, and it doesn't fit the criteria. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Mr. Davis,
Yes.
before you go, you raised a point that I've been thinking about myself, as being it's an ag, and there's a lot of local ranchers out there, and they have ranch hands, cowboys, and people that help work on the farm and in their ranches. What if somebody had people living there as part of their ranch or part of their farm, living in a guest house? How would that be looked at by you and your friends?
Well, I don't think that 8 acres would be a cattle or horse producing, any ag producing for profit to hire people for that. And I don't believe that's what the instance is here. But once again, it's if something was grandfathered in from way back, that's already there. But this is something new when laws are in place. And, you know, I would have to answer your question. No, I wouldn't agree to it then. You know, what it is what it is.
Okay. All right. I'll listen for some more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Candace Ross. Right now, my address is down in Coral Springs, Florida. I am the applicant for the Class A mobile home approval. The verbiage of the application states it is a mobile home. However, the other gentleman is correct. It is a manufactured home, a modular home, per se. My husband passed away unexpectedly March 21st. Due to my illnesses and the fact that I do not want to be alone 100 miles from my family, I looked to move up here. Course of events brought me to decide to take up my son-in-law and daughter's offer to put a second residence on their property. I went to the building departments, sought the information to make sure I was doing the proper things, following the proper procedure for doing all of this. The home itself has been built to an excessive wind zone code. It is far superior to the surrounding homes in the area. It has been built to a wind zone 3 level. The homes themselves in the area are only required to wind zone 2. I have done everything in the construction of this house to make it a regular home, as although the verbiage in the application states it is a guest home, this will be my residence. I will be residing there full-time if you grant me permission, and it will not be used as a transient guest home, future rental, or anything. This will be my home. I have brought my contractor here to answer any technical questions, should you like to ask him questions, or if there's anything else you would like me to answer, please feel free to ask. I'm just hoping that you will consider my petition and approve my application for the Class A home. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ross, you already have a house on that property? You did hear from the audience, from one of the public speakers, that's saying that you know, this is zoned for one home for every 5 acres.
When we checked the zoning on this house, as long as we were told, as long as it is a family member, we could have a second dwelling, as long as we had distance set apart, not attached to the house. So we have worked to meet every criteria as we've gone along that we checked into, to the best of our ability, with the building department. I asked that of planning and zoning. There appears to be no issue as far as that's concerned. We have looked into the warranty deed. We find nothing that states that the home can't be there. There is no homeowners association. We've gone back to see if there ever was. We have found no regulation that stipulates that we cannot have this home on there. I would not have purchased this home in good faith had I not crossed every T and dotted every I that I could conceivably think of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, Madam Chair, question would be for Mr. Waite.
Before you ask that, is it okay if I just let the public finish having their chance, and then we'll come back to the board?
That's fine.
Thank you. Unless it's specific right now.
No, it's not specific.
Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to address the board? Seeing no one, we'll close tonight's... Yes? Okay.
We moved into this home. That's my mother.
I need you to
Courtney
put
Ross,
your name. Thank you.
And I live at 16675 Carlton Adams Road. We purchased this home a few years back, and while we were purchasing it, I was very involved. Me and my husband were involved in it together. And one of the key factors of when we purchased this home, that it was zoned for 2 that later down the road, we could build a second family home on it. That was one of the key factors of us purchasing that particular home, because I knew that eventually I would like my parents to come live with me. And that was all part of the plan when we did first purchase the home. Now, I had spoken to a few of my neighbors when this first had gone on, and we had made sure that we had taken all the right precautions and permits with St. Lucie County. And then when we had found out we needed to have authorization from our neighbors, whether they were for the permit or against the permit, I had made a few phone calls to a few different of the neighbors and tried to get a hold of them to explain to them exactly what I was doing, if they wanted to come over, check the house out, so they would feel more comfortable in knowing that we weren't throwing a trailer on the back piece of property. And when I did speak to them, they told me, one told me that, if you had your Ag 5 license, or your Ag 5, right, license, you wouldn't even have to ask us. You could put anything. Look what we have next door. And next door to our building, we have a big, next door to my house, right, we have a big, like, those pod units just filled with trash? Mm-hmm. That sits next door to my house. And also, too, a big pole barn. If you ever known what a pole barn is, it's a pole with a bunch of metal pieces that just kind of up there. If it's not maintained, it flaps in the wind. Now, one of that particular owner, he's sick, and I understand that. So, it's right there, and that he didn't have to get a permit for, and he explained to me, too, that with an Ag 5 license, you don't have to ask for permission. Now, that's right next door to my house, and this is what I was told by my neighbors, that if I had an Ag 5, I wouldn't even have to go through this. So for today, we don't have an Ag license, although I do have a lot of agricultural, and I am trying to contribute to the community with my home, as far as I donate time with the horses, and I sell farm fresh eggs on the corner, and stuff like that. I'm contributing back to my community with this home, and it sits there. And also, too, as I wanted to just address on the comment that one of the commissioners had said, that what if something was already there? Now, if you go right across the street from this gentleman's house that was here to represent the owner of that house, well, when I first moved in, that house, they've done a beautiful job on that home now. He has upgraded that home and repaired it. But shingles were hanging off. There was like 15 people living in that house, migrant workers, and everything. Like you said, guest workers would come in and out. And across the street from his home is actually a trailer, in the trailer park. And that's like right across the street from my house. So there is existing trailers and RVs, and there's an RV park right down the road, too. So there are trailers. And like I said, I was informed that if we had our Ag 5 license, that we wouldn't even have had to go through this, that everybody would have been okay. And if it's a concern, and then there was a concern about taxes, and we said we would address this. We've been very accommodating to all of our neighbors, and said we'd go through all the proper proceedings and would not want to, overstep somebody's boundaries or not do something that we weren't supposed to. But we did take our precautions when we went to start this, and we went to the county and we asked for permission before everything even went to this, and we didn't know that this was going to be a choice for the neighbors to say if they were in favor or not in favor till the very last minute, which brings us here today. But like I said, when we did purchase the home, as it's zoned for 2 homes on that property, and if we had our Ag 5 license, this wouldn't be a big deal. And also, down the road, there's RV trailers there, and this is far from an RV trailer. This is an upgrade to our community and our road. It's a beautiful home. Nobody's going to be renting it, and it's just going to be my mother in the back so we could help her and stay as a tight family. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, will close tonight's public hearing and come back to the board. Commissioner Johnson, you had a question.
I think she answered my question. Maybe Ms. Waite can be a part of answering my question as well. our question was going to be, are there any other modular or mobile homes in the area as well? And looking at the situation, you know, because I like to deal with facts. The semantics of 1 per 5 acres. I look at that, but I also look at is there's other properties in that same vicinity that have a mobile home, or do they have more than something else that could be nearly the size of a house on their property, which considers 2 different things on 2 different parcels of land.
Right,
So,
I think there's an image up on the
right.
thing now.
Another factor is...
I need you to come to the mic, please.
Another factor is that the more you're talking, the more I'm thinking and remembering. And I know she may have pictures of the pole barns and stuff like that, but another factor of the two houses per parcel, that many of those parcels on that road have 2 houses. His house is actually the only house right now that does not have two homes standing on those parcels of land. Every other owner on our street has 2 homes per parcel of land. So there are 2 homes per 7 point how many acres that we have. There are 2 homes on everybody else's property down the road. And then if you go across the street, there's nothing but RVs and trailers, trailer parks.
So it's pretty much a common theme.
Correct.
As it relates to having more than one piece of property.
More than one house,
okay.
plus RVs and trailer parks on that same road.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you. Yes, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Kevin Thomason, 16501 Carlton Adams. The place she talks about across the road with the trailer on is 75 acres, and the other trailer park down the road is on 20 acres, and that's the only mobile homes in the area. So I just want to let you know that. It's not full of mobile homes or trailers.
Let me ask you a question. Considering the statement she made, are there parcels or multiple parcels with more than one piece of property on that, one building on that property?
There is some guest houses under one owner. There's 2 lots out there that have 2 homes on them.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking that question, because if others have been allowed to do that.
But they're built homes. They're not mobile homes.
But they're built homes. They're not mobile homes. Yes. Okay, so.
They're concrete built homes on the same parcel.
Right. So you got a situation.
Under one owner.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Under one owner only.
Okay. So you got a situation where you got more than one house on a piece of property, but they're not modular or mobile homes. But also you got a situation where you have mobile or modular homes on other property that has more land.
Acreage, 75 acres.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. You have to come up to the
microphone.
Mic if you're going to speak.
So we can.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone else from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, come back to the board again. Are there any questions of the staff or any questions the commissioners have?
Madam Chair, let me just go back.
Yes.
Ms. Waite, there was some comment made that this was a subdivision in the email that was sent. So to give due this email, is this a subdivision? Is this a planned unit development that was created of some sort? Are there documents clarifying an HOA, a homeowners association with bylaws and all those types of things? Has that been?
Actually, Commissioner, if I may, the subdivision was the gentleman outside the 500 yards. Is that correct?
Right, but this lot and I think from those other people that you have heard from do live within this what is called Luke's Lot subdivision. It was a 10-lot subdivision. It was created in 2002. They all appear to be about 7.5 acres, and but we could find no record of any property owner association documents. There are no limitations on the site plan or on the plat that would restrict the type of uses on the property to anything other than what would be allowed by our zoning regulations, which just to verify, in AG5, guest house may be located in AG5 as long as an accessory to the primary residence. First, you have to have a single-family home, and then you can have a guest home. The reason this is coming to you is that it is a mobile home. If it was a stick-built, then they would just pull their building permit.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready to make a motion. I feel as though we can keep going back and forth, but the reality is it meets the code requirements. It's something that I think neighbors need to work through, neighbor issues. I'd love to see the neighbors get along and to be able to provide and keep their yards the way they should and to do certain things. Whether or not we like the mobile versus the manufactured versus block built, it's meeting the code requirements in that sense, and I think we would be hard-pressed to not provide for it. I move for staff recommendation to approve the request.
I'll second with a comment. Looking at, as was mentioned earlier, facts, the one written objection we have received, which was mentioned earlier, also mentions that there is a guest house, which is a permanent residence on that home as well. There is a concern that there is a tax issue with this residence that would be added, the manufactured home. And staff has answered that from the property appraiser, Class A mobile homes are taxed as real property if the owner of the home is also the landowner. So that, in this particular case, is not an issue. And with those facts in mind, I once again have seconded the motion.
Okay. Are there any further questions from the board?
Question, just a simple statement. We do get a lot of issues where the neighbors, have concerns about what comes into their neighborhoods. But again, we're somewhat tied in that, we do follow the code, we follow the rules. We may not like the idea of a manufactured home or the terminology of a mobile home, but in essence, this is considered and meets all the code requirements for wind load and so on and so forth. So whether it's called a mobile home or a manufactured home or prefabbed or whatever, I think our hands are tied here that the applicant has the ability to do this based on our current codes.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'm with Commissioner Zadowski on this one. We have to follow the letter of the law to that degree. We are a subdivision of the state, and understanding that, we take everything under consideration to its best abilities. We don't always look at situations and saying, whether somebody likes it or not, if it meets standards and codes and as far as what the state is asking for. And on that wise, we must do and follow what we've been commissioned to do, not only things that are likable to the community, but things that are verified and we're committed to by state. This is a very somewhat difficult situation, but I think all will end well. I think Commissioner Maurer said it best. Neighbors work out the kinks. You're out there together, and there's other properties out there with more than one building or house on it. So they're not doing anything different that nobody else is doing. So enjoy your life, enjoy your family, and
just so the board knows, I think you all know this, there is a big difference in a mobile home and a manufactured home. So they're not to be confused. A mobile home is a mobile home.
Right.
It can have wheels removed and go through that process. A manufactured home is a manufactured home, and those, many times, if you go up north, they can actually be built much better than some of your typical stick-built homes because they're building it in a controlled environment. You can buy them in 5, 6, 8 pieces, and they all get put together with turrets and the whole deal, depending upon what manufactured home builder you use. But this was for the definition of the Class A mobile home and going through that process. So.
Are there any further comments? And before I ask for the vote, Commissioner Maury, you're pointing out the one thing that's always been struck to the front of my mind is that definition of the Class A.
Right.
That it's more of a manufactured home than it is the mobile home. The fact that they do pay taxes. They're not the sticker that goes on them, and they did a license tag every year they renew it. It is treated just as if it is a real, what other people consider to be a real home. Right. That's what it is under the federal definitions. So, this time, Madam Secretary, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Zadowski,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Mowry,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes, ma'am. Motion passes. Moving on to our next, the Community Development Block Grant Small Cities Program.
Good evening again, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Diana Wisłowski, Housing Manager. The item before you is a required public hearing for the Competitive Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Small Cities. The purpose of this public hearing is to review the allowable activity categories and request from the board guidance and direction on which activity to apply for. At this time, I would like to introduce Jay Mosley, our consultant. And Jay will review each category and will also review the direction received from the Citizens Advisory Task Force. And I also have a handout, so I'm going to pass that out, and I will leave extra on the table in case anyone from the public would like to have a copy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Jay Mosley, Community Development Block Grant Program. This is for your 2013 fiscal year Community Development Block Grant. The State of Florida Department of Economic Opportunity has opened a grant cycle up. The grants are due February 17th. In order to successfully apply for a grant, you have to have 2 public hearings. This is the first of those public hearings. This public hearing is to direct staff which type of grant to apply for. The second public hearing will be to review a draft application of the grant category that you select. The CDBG program is to benefit low and moderate income persons, to aid in prevention or elimination of slums and blight and other community development needs. You are eligible to apply for 1 grant in the regular category. We have researched these categories, and we are, here as staff to make recommendations to you as well. Like Diana said, we did have a Citizens Advisory Task Force meeting, and we went through these procedures and processes with them, and we have their recommendation for you tonight as well. The regular category grants include housing rehabilitation. This is for the repair or replacement of owner-occupied dwellings of low to moderate income persons. It's a direct grant to the beneficiary. There is a deferred payment loan agreement signed with them that says if they benefit from the grant, if they sell their house, they will repay the money. So it's a long-term benefit to them as long as they maintain ownership and residence in the home. The second category in the regular categories is neighborhood revitalization. This would be for replacement of public infrastructure in a low to moderate income neighborhood. This is the most competitive category within the state. In fact, every grant cycle in the last 3 years has had at least 13 to 15 of these grants funded. However, they've received over 40 applications, so you can see how competitive it is. And no grant has been funded without readiness to proceed points. So we don't feel like you would qualify for those readiness to proceed. That would mean that you had your area already identified, engineering plans drawn up and ready to bid out, and you don't get those points. And so there's absolutely no opportunity for you to get funded in that category. The third category is commercial revitalization. This would be a long-term grant opportunity. You would have to have a development area already identified. Right now, the only identifiable commercial areas that you have in your county are within the city of Fort Pierce or in Port St. Lucie. I don't know of any commercial areas that have a designated downtown district other than your communities that are not within your jurisdiction. They are their own jurisdiction. So in your regular categories, we have identified housing rehabilitation as your best option. You have a fairly high community-wide needs score. You have available SHIP match for the matching funds, and you would be able to receive the points for green rehabilitation, and we feel like this is the category, and staff recommends applying for a housing rehabilitation grant. Additionally, we had a CATF meeting on November the 14th, and they reviewed these same options, and their recommendation unanimously as well was to apply for a grant in the housing rehabilitation category. Now, the last opportunity we have for you is an economic development grant. Now, I know most people's eyes light up when they see that and they say, oh great, we need $750,000 to do economic development. This grant requires kind of a perfect storm, you might say, in the fact that you have to have a business that is willing to be a participating party that's going to locate or relocate from out of state to unincorporated areas of Fort Pierce or unincorporated areas of the county. Additionally, there has to be some kind of identifiable public infrastructure that particular business would need to in order to relocate. So it's kind of a perfect storm. However, the good news on that category is you can apply for that grant anytime as long as there are funds available. And should we identify a business opportunity that meets that criteria, we would certainly bring that back to you for your consideration. But staff does recommend at least applying for a housing rehabilitation grant along with the Citizens Advisory Task Force. And now, Madam Chair, if you would open it up for public comment, I'm finished with my presentation.
Okay. Before I do so, let me ask if there's any questions from the board at this time for Mr. Mobley. Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll open up for public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to address the board?
Madam Chair, Mark Gotts,
Yes,
154 Northwest Magnolia Lakes Boulevard. I just have a question regarding the housing rehabilitation. When they're using the verbal low and moderate income, what price range does that encumber?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
These are homeowner occupied, so we are not purchasing the home. It is someone who owns the home that would qualify. And they come into our office and they fill out an application, and we do an income certification. And every year income limits are published. So that would be how they would determine the income and if they would qualify for the assistance.
Oh.
We do not purchase the home. It is a homeowner occupied rehab.
Okay, so then let me rephrase the question, if I may, through the chair, which is what would be the current low to moderate income of that type of person?
I don't have that schedule with me, but I could certainly get with you. It also depends upon how many people are in the family. If we have one person, the amount is a certain amount. If there's 5 people that are living in the home, it's a different amount. So I apologize I didn't bring that with me. But it's also published on the HUD.gov website and Florida Housing. Jay, is it Florida Housing Coalition? Yeah, it's published on that website, and it's also on our the housing page website.
I'm trying to help you out here. I think the last time I looked at it, it was like the $30,000 to $34,000 range was like the minimum for like one person, and then it went up from that point depending on the size family it was.
Nothing that's simple, I say.
No.
All right, I'll try to get that off the website, but my only suggestion is for people maybe watching this or maybe interested, if we're going to get the grant, they should have some idea what their bracket is, where they can qualify, so they know whether to apply or not.
And I think that's what one of the things Diane was pointing out. It changes every year.
Does.
It actually increases every year. Your income level does.
So we won't know till next year?
No,
Well,
but in addition, if we are successful getting the grant, we do put a notice in the paper that we have the funds and that they're available and that we would be taking applications. And in the notification in the newspaper, we would put that income limits and how many people. So that information would be put out there.
Super, thank you.
At this point, we don't have the grant yet. We're doing all this to apply.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and is it not posted on the website also, St. Lucie County's website?
It is,
It's on the
yes.
housing portion side.
Yes. And it's slchousing.org.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and come back to the board. Is there no further questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
And I'll
Yes,
second
sir.
that.
Okay.
But with that said, take a look at opportunities like this for St. Lucie County, being that we get the money through our application. It's an opportunity for us to do upgrades in our community, which helps increase the property values, which is very important. And this is why we have programs like this that could be very beneficial to the county, because one of the things that quite often people are concerned about in St. Lucie County is our property values. And this is a way that, in this situation, the government really helps in that process.
Right. There's a motion, there's a second. If there's no further questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've concluded tonight's public hearings. We'll move on to tonight's regular agenda. Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the regular agenda. The first item relates to Resolution 2013-243 pertaining to the opportunity to be heard. As the board's aware, we've discussed this in an informal work session. The legislature did pass a law effective October 1st, 2013, which requires that members of the public be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard on a proposition before a Sunshine Board. Let me just say that from St. Lucie County's perspective, we've really always complied with this law. We do allow general public comment. We've always essentially done that for the longest time. So I think we're in compliance with the law, and we were in compliance before the law actually went into effect. Before passage, we did allow general public comment. We still do that, obviously. The new law does contemplate the adoption of rules and policies, so that's why staff is bringing this to the board for board consideration. Staff has drafted the attached resolution for board discussion and consideration. The resolution does provide for public comment as we have it at the beginning of the meeting where action is to be taken. We're not proposing any limits on the amount of public comment, or we're not moving it to the end or anything as other governmental agencies perhaps have done. The resolution, as we've drafted it, proposes to limit general public comment to 3 minutes per person. That, as we looked at in informal work session, was what a majority of the governments that we looked at had done. We do recommend that you keep the 5 minutes per person for public hearings that's currently allowed. If the resolution were adopted, it would take effect on January 1st of 2014. This would apply not only to the board, but to any Sunshine Board that would be like the Board of Adjustment or the Planning and Zoning Board, things like that. It would require those boards to allow public comment at the beginning. There are certain exemptions to it in the state law. Where there's an emergency, it's a ministerial act, exempt meetings, a quasi-judicial meeting already allows for public comment. The chair is authorized to modify the limits, the speaker limits, and otherwise control the presentations as we've drafted it. The resolution also addresses non-agenda items to make sure that we handle those properly. And then we've added a section, again, just generally to deal with the decorum, requiring the speakers to come to the lectern, be addressed through the chair, not addressing individual members of the board, but through the chair. And and we hope, we have almost never had this happen, but if a speaker becomes unruly or uses profanity, provides for the chair to request that the person leave the lectern and return to the speaker's seat. Madam Chair, staff recommends approval.
Is there any board discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming that the non-agenda item, as discussed here, refers only to items that we would be expected to take action on at that point, because from time to time there are items that we are not actually taking, well, to use the word again, taking action on in a given evening, which are brought forward for discussion. And this, to me, doesn't really seem to address them, because it talks about shall be introduced only when deemed by the chairperson or another board member to require urgent attention. I'm assuming we would still be allowing general comment on items which we would not be required to take action on.
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioner Lewis, that's exactly right. What we could do, again, as always, I think it's better to clarify things, but perhaps we could say in the first sentence, any item that's not on the printed agenda or any printed supplemental agenda that requires action, board action, something like that, to clarify that. This would not, I know the board members on occasion talk about community events as an example, things that the community might be interested in, that the board wants to make sure the community is aware of. Those things would not be covered by this. We're talking about a non-agenda item that would require board action.
I was just wondering, because, for instance, this evening the drainage issue was brought forward. That's obviously not something we were taking action on this evening. And the requirement that it would need to be approved and whatnot before it was brought forward just seemed to me to be unnecessarily complicated in that instance.
Yes, ma'am. And again, staff would recommend that we add a clause that says that requires board action in the first sentence in Section 3.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just want
Yes,
to
sir.
state that I'm very proud of St. Lucie County over the years of being transparent and fully providing public comment and just about everything we do really. And we're always open to that, and I'm very glad that we're codifying this and making sure that it's maintained for the future. So I'm very supportive, and with that said, I would make a motion to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no further comments. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Moving on to Resolution 2013244, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. This item relates to establishing a policy for reimbursement of attorney's fees and costs. This is an item that we discussed during our ethics training that was required by state law. The board was required to actually attend 4 hours of training, which the board did and completed in November. In this, the state law actually requires that the county is authorized to provide an attorney to defend civil actions that relate to the employment, or unless in the case of a tort action the officer is acting in bad faith or not inconsistent with their public duties. If a county is authorized to provide an attorney but fails to do so, state law requires that the county reimburse the officer, employer, agent who prevails in the action for court costs and attorney's fees. The resolution that we've attached establishes a policy for reimbursement that's based on a policy adopted by Leon County. Leon County is in Tallahassee is the city that's most known in that county. They've had a history of issues. We, of course, do not, but this actually, I think, would assist the county in regulating that. It's, again, the state law already requires that we do so, but this would allow the board to have some sort of control over it. Again, this would require board approval, would authorize the county attorney to administer this, make sure that attorney's fees don't exceed a certain dollar amount that's established in the community, so we have control over that, and we're recommending approval.
Are there any questions from the board at this time?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Moving on to our next agenda item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is item 3, 9A3. It relates to the development of Tarpon Flats, LLC. It's an agreement to terminate a settlement stipulation. This has some background. It actually goes back to the 1980s, and actually before my time. Tarpon
Really?
Flats, yeah, it's hard to believe that.
I cannot believe
I can actually, it's one of the few things I can say that I didn't do.
I need to correct that record.
I heard Fred Flintstone.
You can't blame me for this one. Tarpon Flats does own certain property on Hutchinson Island. The property was once owned by Anna Gates. In the early 1980s, Anna Gates sued the county as a result of a denial of a site plan submitted by Ms. Gates. Ultimately, there was a settlement stipulation entered into between Ms. Gates and the county, which resulted in site plan approval. The settlement stipulation was ultimately approved by a judge, a circuit judge, in May of 1985. A copy of that judgment's attached. The site plan has since expired, and the new developer, Tarpon Flats, doesn't intend to develop the property in accordance with the expired Gates site plan. The new developer has requested that the county agree to terminate the settlement stipulation as to that property owned by Tarpon Flats. In this regard, there's a proposed agreement to terminate the stipulation. If the board determines to approve the proposed agreement, Tarpon Flats and the county will file a motion with the court requesting the court to approve the agreement terminating the settlement stipulation. To make it clear, this doesn't authorize any new development. It simply eliminates the site plan from the property. The current developer would have to decide to apply for site plan approval or development approval, and the board would actually have to review that and determine whether to approve or deny. Staff recommends approval.
Motion to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to number 4. Mr. McIntyre, the man of the night here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This relates to an action that the county, St. Lucie County, is involved in, several other counties, as many as 20 counties, involved in challenging the state related to a state law where the counties and the state share the cost of juvenile detention. The counties really are only obligated under the state law to pay the cost of providing detention care for juveniles for the period of time prior to court disposition. The state's responsible for all other costs, and for a long time that went fairly well, but beginning with the year 2008-2009, the counties began challenging the Department of Juvenile Justice's allocation of predispositional costs to the counties based on an interpretation by the department that the final court disposition was equivalent to commitment. We, the counties, also challenged the annual cost allocation since it wasn't based on actual costs. I'm pleased to announce that there was a settlement. The department first of all, this went to court. The counties won. It was appealed. The counties won again. And that decision was in June of this year. The counties and the department have entered into a settlement stipulation that identifies the costs that are owed to the various counties that challenged it. That's the good news. I want to share what those amounts are. Some of those were not available when I drafted this, and this is just for St. Lucie County. In fiscal year 09-10, the department indicates and agrees that they overcharged the county $1,436,521.82. In fiscal year 10-11, the department agrees that they overcharged the county $900,090.51. In fiscal year 11-12, the department agrees that they overcharged the county $645,087.93. The new allocation for 12-13 just came out. They haven't agreed to this yet, but I think they will. They overcharged the county in fiscal year 12-13 $765,864.44. When you add all those up, it totals $3,747,564.70. Madam Chair, that's the good news. The bad news is that the department is taking the position that they can't reimburse the county through credits or otherwise, that requires legislative action. The counties do believe, though, it is important to establish the amounts that will eliminate the need for hearings, the spending of additional costs to do that. So the value of the stipulation is that the amounts are agreed upon. There's no argument about that. The counties, plural, including St. Lucie, will be left to try to get the money through legislative action, or perhaps we're going to look at other potential actions which I'll be discussing with the board at a later date. Madam Chair, in view of the fact that the counties essentially have won this issue, that the department has agreed or will agree to stipulate that the county is owed this money, we recommend that the board approve the joint stipulation of facts, not just for fiscal year 09-10, but for 10-11, 11-12, and 12-13, and that you authorize the county attorney or designee to sign those settlement stipulations.
Motion to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. I would just like to comment, Mr. McIntyre, did I hear you say that you would be coming back with us for other ideas? Because I would really like some consideration given to whether or not we should make this a legislative issue in the upcoming year.
Yes, ma'am. That will certainly. I think we should do that in any event. We can work with administration on doing that. I think you should do that in any event. There may be other options that we need to talk about, but we will be doing this in conjunction with other counties as well. Similar to what we did with the Agency for Healthcare Administration, the board will remember we were one of 3 counties that challenged that rule, and we were able to achieve over $5 million in savings over what the department requested initially from us. We're hopeful that this will go along the same lines.
And Madam Chair, if I may add, as part of this, maybe we should be looking at juvenile detention diversion programs in which some of this monies could be used to rehabilitate children before they even get into the system. And so I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. If we're going to start developing ideas on where dollars may go, I'd like us to at least think about that and maybe bring it forward in a workshop down the road.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Now, moving on to our next agenda item, Port Entrance Road.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Joanne Riley, Property Acquisitions Manager, will be presenting this item. While she's walking up, I'll give you some background and then let her take it over. The county's been working on the implementation of the North 2nd Street Improvement Project since 2004, and I believe Mr. West is in the audience as well, and he's certainly been sort of point person on this from the county's perspective. It's a partnership with the City of Fort Pierce, the State of Florida DOT, and the Florida Seaport Transportation and Economic Development grant. The county received a grant for road improvements to North 2nd Street, the entrance road to the port. The first phase of the grant is to acquire right-of-way and pond sites. I'll let Ms. Riley take it from there to discuss this particular project.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Madam Chair, members of the board, for the record, Joanne Riley, Property Acquisition Manager. As the county attorney stated, we've been working on this project since roughly 2004. And with this particular parcel that we're going to speak of tonight, the county has always referred to this as the property that was once owned by St. Lucie Outboard Marine. They actually went into foreclosure. We started working with them in September of 2010. They went into foreclosure. We kept contact with the bank. The bank was willing to continue to work with us, understanding the necessity for the right-of-way and also the fact that by our acquiring the right-of-way, we were also going to, in a sense, make their site plan and their facility not in compliance with the City of Fort Pierce's regulations. So what we had to do was we had to go out and create a cure plan and also develop a cost to cure it. So in a sense, what we have done is we've had the right-of-way appraised. We are going to be paying the bank who is now the rightful owner, for the right-of-way, which is roughly $35,000. We also have a cure plan, which will in turn take their site, redesign it, re-engineer it, so that they are then in compliance with the City of Fort Pierce's requirements. And also, then we are going to enter into an escrow agreement, which will be held, the money will be held by our title company, so that as the construction occurs on the site, they may also receive draws and reimburse for their cost. What more can I say? Staff recommends
Let me see if we
approval.
can step there. Thank
Staff
you.
recommends approval. And again, we are grateful that the bank continued to work with us. And if there's any specific questions relative to the design, I have Mr. West here on my shoulder, and he'd be happy to help me answer the questions for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Madam Chair, move approval, staff recommendation.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We've
Thank
come
you.
to the thank you. We've come to the end of our meeting for this evening. Is there any comments from the board?
Yes, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
December the 5th, there will be a lighting of the tree in tradition.
Yes.
So that's December 5th, and that will be at 6 o'clock p.m. Also, on December the 6th, there will be a Christmas parade in Port St. Lucie at the City Center.
Yes, that's their, also their, they will have things going on at noon, starting at noon, but
Correct.
the parade is at 6.
And the parade starts at 6 o'clock. And then on the 7th, the City of Fort Pierce is also putting on a parade at 2 o'clock.
Christmas is in the air.
Is in the air.
Right. Festival's at 2 and the parade, I think, is at 4.
Oh, the
Starts at
parade is at 4?
4.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me on that, Commissioner Lewis. So the parade is at 4, the festival is at 2.
We have to be there at 4. I don't know what I'm not sure what time the parade actually is, but it's later.
But we want the people to go out and enjoy the festival first.
Is there any other comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, as we move into the holiday season, it's always difficult when families lose a loved one. The Van Duzer Foundation, through Team 8 for Christian Medina and Tim and Peter Green, are doing a benefit tomorrow, December 4th, at the Big Apple Pizza on 35th from 3 to 10. All the proceeds go to help the families try and recover from this devastating loss. So please come on out and show your support. And there will also be, I think, a blood drive as well to try and support that effort as well.
So if they come out for lunch and they order a meal, the proceeds go?
From 3 to 10, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure
And
that
then
people
on
understand.
a difficult note, as we move into the holiday season, in the area we're all familiar, in the last year, since January 1st, there's been over 134 shootings in the city of Fort Pierce. 34 victims have been hit by gunfire. 6 homicides have occurred since January, and 5 remain unsolved. There have been 2 double homicides, and there have also been 3 weeks recently of no shootings since January 1. So only 3 weeks out of this entire year have there been no shootings. There's somewhat of a cloud of fear gripping the community, and it's been very difficult. Witnesses and victims are certainly frightened. But it's important, and I beg you, the community, to please participate in helping law enforcement and us find the people responsible so we can stop these shootings. And if you wouldn't mind, please contact Treasure Coast Crime Stoppers. If you have information about these crimes, please make the phone call. Crime Stoppers is 1-800-273-8477, or go to the website tcwatch.org and help submit a tip. We need to get these people off the street. We need to protect our communities. So please help us. Please speak up. We need to stop this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So if there's no further comments, is there any comments from the staff?
No, ma'am.
Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you.